Indy Mogul.
Hey Indy Mogulers, Russell here. Recently I've been working on a web series called Billy and Bonnie about an overgrown 5-year-old played by an adult woman who's about my age. That actress's name is Danya LaBelle. And last week she asked me if I would be able to put together an acting reel for her. And that got me thinking. Over the last 10 years or so, I've been asked many times to put together acting reels, and I've only really done a handful of them. At the time, I didn't really know what the standard procedure was for something like that. But doing her reel got me thinking, let's do an episode about it. Because chances are, if you work with the same actors over and over again, they may ask you to do this for them, and they may offer to pay. With all the talk of freelance work that we've had on this channel over the last couple weeks, I figure let's add one more thing to that, and go over the list of 9 things that I've come up with that you should know when putting together someone's acting reel. Like I said, there's been a lot of talk the past few weeks about doing freelance work, and editing an acting reel should be added to the list of those potential jobs. It's the kind of thing where typically you can charge between $100, $200 roughly. Some experienced reel editors will charge a few hundred more. I mean, it's not a windfall or anything, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a relatively easy editing job. You don't necessarily have to shoot anything for it, the editing of the scenes is already done, and really, you just have to find the best way to bring all that footage together. I don't mean to downplay the art of reel editing, because like anything else, it's the sort of thing you have to learn to do well. I only say it's relatively easy because the final product is generally very short. And just how short should they be? The best length that you can go with is about 2 minutes. Keep it as close to 2 minutes as possible. Casting directors will go through so many reels, and their attention spans for these sort of things can be very short. There are exceptions though. You want to know what the actor's end game is. If they're just trying to put together a normal reel for a casting director, then fine, keep it about 2 minutes. If the reel is being made to give to an agent so that they can try and get signed, you have a little bit more time to play with. Keep it between 2 and 5 minutes max, although really keep it closer to 2 if you can. But you have a little bit more room because you want to get to show everything you can, every look, every type of character that the actor can play, because the agent is going to be making an investment in this person, and they're usually willing to sit through a little bit more than a casting director would. A few clips showing the actor with different looks as different characters edited together into a montage is okay in this instance, but only in this instance. In fact, let's make that thing number 3. When I was in film school about 10 years ago, one thing that was in a lot of acting reels that I would go through is some sort of montage, set to music that the actor would pick that the editor would include. This technique was used so often that a lot of editors still think that you need to do that today. Generally, they'll use it as, say, the opener or as a way to bridge 2 major scenes. But things have changed in 10 years. Call it the ever-shrinking attention spans of people in general. But in most cases, montages are no longer needed in an acting reel. The only time you should use one, as I mentioned before, is if this is going to an agent. And I would try and keep your length between 10 and 30 seconds, and once again, try to keep it closer to the lower end of that scale. Now right off the bat, it's good to start with a headshot and the name, but don't dwell on that for too long. A few seconds, that's it. Then just get right into things. You want the first clip that you use here to be the strongest. This is not the kind of situation where you want to save something to wow them at the end, because if you don't impress them right away, they may not make it to the end. For this reel, I've taken a 20-second clip from a project that it's still in post-production, so I can't really show too much of it, but I felt it was the best balance between the performance showing what she has to offer as an actress and being overall very professional looking.
Are you a mariachi or something? Can you do a little music and dance number for us, huh?
Now, it is true that if you have one extremely beyond words impressive clip that is long enough, you can make a reel with just one scene, but that is an absolute rarity. So let's continue and let's go on to our next scene and show how we transition from one part to the next. Transitions between scenes is one of the many places where less is more. Don't get fancy with the editing. A lot of editors want to show what they can do as they're putting together a reel, and remember, this isn't an editor's showcase, it's the actor's showcase. You just want hard cuts between scenes, but you do want it to flow well. A simple cut from one scene to the next is all that's needed, but make sure to keep some sort of rhythm. Notice the way the dialogue is at the end of this scene.
Now hand over your lunch money.
And as we cut right into the next scene,
Excuse me. I wanted hot turkey sausage. This is clearly pork.
we keep that dialogue rhythm going.
Hand over your lunch money. Excuse me. I wanted hot turkey sausage. This is clearly pork.
When you cut to a new clip, keep the rhythm from the prior scene going if you can.
I have more bubbles!
I forgot the safe word.
Well, figure it out!
What's the safe word?
Let's say there's a scene where your actor's character gives one hell of a monologue, which sounds great, but while the character delivers the monologue, it's just showing shots of everyone else in the room reacting and barely shows any of the actor. That's not what you want. You want to minimize the amount of time that your actor is off screen. If possible, trim down the cutaways as long as it doesn't ruin the flow of the scene. For example,
Excuse me. I wanted hot turkey sausage. This is clearly pork.
Honey, can you honestly tell me the difference between hot turkey and hot pork? They're made with the same seasonings, and 80% of the time, they're made with pork casings. So what's the problem?
The problem is that I asked for hot f***ing turkey sausage.
but I don't need that cutaway to be so long, so I cut it down like so.
Excuse me. I wanted hot turkey sausage. This is clearly pork.
Can you honestly tell me the difference between hot turkey and hot pork?
The problem is that I asked for hot f***ing turkey sausage.
It's better for this purpose, it's faster, and in the end, the story of the scene does not matter. As long as the gist of things gets across, that's fine. Just a couple other things now. The right number of clips to use really depends on what footage you have. At the least, you could probably get away with 2 clips. At the most, you probably shouldn't go over 10, depending on those scenes' length. You want to show as much range as you can. Make sure that the performances are as varied as possible. It is okay to use more than 1 clip from the same project. Only do this if the second clip shows a different acting range from the first. Another thing here, kind of a technical thing, chances are good that all the videos that you're putting together will not have been mastered to the same audio level. So make sure before you finish that everything is the same volume. No sense having a casting director get aggravated and shut off what would have otherwise been a really good reel just because all of a sudden the next clip you can't hear at all, or the next clip just blows out his speakers. And finally, and this is one that's totally my opinion, I'm sure some people will disagree and say otherwise, but I think it's important, not to mention polite and great for building a good working relationship with an actor. If you've worked with an actor multiple times and they've consistently done good work, and I'm taking into account the fact that most of you will be working with actors who are doing it for free and for the experience, like the actors that I've worked with, do them a solid and edit it for them for free. This is the perfect way to show that you appreciate all the hard work that they've been putting in for free and for the experience, and probably assures that they'll continue working with you in the future. It's not all selfless though. I mean, actors tend to hang around with other actors, and then when those guys see the reel you've put together for them, they may say, "Oh, who put together that reel for you? Oh, how much does he charge?" And then they can point their actor friends in your direction, and all of a sudden you've got paying customers. And you get to know more actors, which is always a plus. That's it for this week. If you have anything else you'd like to add to this topic that you think I didn't cover, then leave it in the comments below. Also, if you haven't yet checked out the Billy and Bonnie series that I've been working on recently, I haven't plugged it in a couple weeks. We've had a few more episodes since then. Check it out. I directed it, I edited it. I didn't write it though, the 2 actresses did. Gotta give them the credit for that one. Also, if you've been watching the show for a while, you may remember Chad Newhall, the Movie Quest co-host. He's also on the live show still quite often, so I'm sure you know who he is. You may remember over a year ago when we put together the deleted Porkins scenes around the time that the Star Wars Blu-ray set came out.
Can't hold it. Eject button on the Y-wing would be here.
Now that they're making a new one, we want to make sure that the Porkins character gets remembered and try to get Chad in there as a cameo as the son of Porkins, even if it's just in the background and you just see like Porkins as a call sign or something, anything. We just want to try and get him in there. He started a petition site to get himself in there, and we've included that link down in the description below. And we're also going to link to the Porkins video again, so check that one out as well. Lots to watch this week. I will see you next week for another Friday 101.